Hey, welcome back to the Virgo channel. My name is Laura. I'm going to do a general message for Virgo. Know that energy is fluid. Roles could be reversed. Always interpret the message as it best resonates with you. Never force anything. You know the deal. Take what you need, leave the rest. Also, if you resonate, please give this video a like, subscribe to the channel. And if you want to enter into winning a free reading with me, you need to do that anyway. You need to like and subscribe to the channel, but you also have to write the word of the video in your comment bar. That's always the first word on the first card that I pull out, and it's the underlining energy that tells me why everyone's doing what they're doing. That's really important when we're looking at spiritual blocks and shadows. This channel is a shadow healing channel. So I do tell you what your person is going to do, but I also tell you why they do what they do. But the most important element, which makes my channels different from other people's channels, is I go into the karmic themes and why you are experiencing that particular karmic theme. Whenever we're stuck in a karmic theme that keeps us in a place of disempowerment and fear, can't manifest, can't create, and that makes us feel inadequate. So anywhere where we feel inadequate, we tend to disassociate, detach from, we reject that part of ourselves. And so the law of energy is we can't just mask negative energy. We can't just get rid of negative energy because we don't like it with a bunch of affirmations. We actually have to integrate the spiritual lesson and transmute the negative energy. We have to do something with the accumulated negative energy that we experience when we are stuck in a karmic loop, in a karmic contract, one that again keeps you bound to a place of disempowerment, fear. And understand that all lower consciousnesses derive from fear, where all higher consciousnesses derive from a place of love. So you are spirit just in physical form, and your job here on the planet Earth is to evolve into the highest state of energy, which is unconditional love, which you're actually born with this energy. You're born pure, but we're born into environments and families and societies that tend to jade our perceptions, and then we wind up forming behaviorisms and habits to create a balance because we feel imbalanced due to what we are perceiving. So that's why we want to know about what to do with the negative energy, because that negative energy is strong manifestation energy. So it can either take you down or it can actually create your heaven on earth. You are a spiritual being, again, having a human experience. And so to learn how to work with energy, you have to understand how the energy works within your life. Otherwise, you can't, it's a personal experience. It's not one that you can learn in school. It's one that you actually have to embody and live, just like how God, the universe, whatever you want to call it, brings you your lessons. How would you really know yourself? How would you really know what you wanted in life unless you really knew yourself? You don't know yourself if you have a bunch of spiritual blocks and shadows. Shadows are not just the spiritual blocks, but actually what's hiding your gifts, your talents, the energy that can help you manifest. So again, I'm hoping that my channels allow you to heal, create awareness. Now, if you are connected to a Scorpio or Gemini, check out my other channels. I also have an All Zodiac channel, but no one ever goes to that channel. I really need to start posting on that one more. It's just no one likes to sift through the different zodiacs. So again, you can just type my name in, they'll all come up, and you're able to cross watch, like I said, if you are connected to any of those zodiacs. All right, let's jump right on in. Let's look at the underlining energy that's telling us why everyone's doing what they're doing, because God knows when you're dealing with a person that has spiritual blocks, They never, you don't know why they're doing what they're doing. It doesn't make sense. And it doesn't make sense because they're living in their own reality, their own perceptions. They're stuck in the karmic theme. And you wouldn't know what that is, you know? You don't know what that is because you're not inside this person's head. You haven't lived their life. You haven't been around in their life. That's why it's important never just to connect with someone by what you feel. You have to really be balanced, really be balanced. And if you're not balanced, it's really going to manifest within behaviorisms and other things within the relationship. All right. So the underlining energy is abandonment, abandonment. So, I feel like you're connected to someone that just ghosted you and they never came back. And you had an idea already that they were connected to someone else, but they made it sound like they were on their way out. This is the underlining energy. So it triggered abandonment. Now, I also feel like for whatever reason, this person feels like you abandoned them. They're projecting a lot. And I feel like they perceive that you were going to be the nurturing Virgo that you were supposed to be. And in their mind, they perceived you to be someone else. And what they see is that you're not that person. So they feel really ashamed. They held back. They didn't really want to contact you. They didn't want to seem vulnerable. They didn't want to seem like they cared too much. And so this is really why they abandon you. They are someone that strategizes. They're someone that manipulates. They're someone that isn't used to being in their emotions. So the underlining energy is abandonment, but I feel like you're connected to someone that is all up in their head, but also angry, triggered, salty, because you are not playing the role that they expected you to play. And I feel like you are actually salty too a little bit because you're saying, okay, so you didn't even have the courtesy to tell me that you went back to your ex. You're just going to leave me hanging like that. And it's like, yeah, because they didn't know whether it was going to work out with their ex. I feel like that they thought that it was going to be temporary. So again, abandonment. This is the underlining energy. Now, you can't manifest abandonment unless you abandon yourself. That's a spiritual law. Because understand when you are fully embodied in what you love and showing up for yourself and connecting to like-minded people and, like I said, living life, having a love affair with life, seeing what every day is going to bring you and being grounded in all areas of your life that connects you intimately to people. And that is really how you show up for yourself, because we never really know how we're going to manifest our heaven on earth. We don't really know how things are going to work out. We intuitively know. We intuitively may have knowledge because we've created before, but do we know every little thing? No, we can't anticipate every little thing that happens. We can only be grounded enough to deal with the situation in the present moment, and then through getting a good result, get the confidence from it. I feel like, again, abandonment, there was a time I feel like you didn't show up for yourself and this person didn't show up for themselves. Meaning you weren't doing that. So the large part of your relationships were very codependent. And that's in balance. It means that there's maybe work or school responsibilities and then your relationship. There was no other things in your life. There was no other passions in your life. So that is when we tend to experience abandonment, because we're giving too much. Just as a side note, and I feel like you both did that in the past. Now, when we experience abandonment, we tend to want to control, because again, we're fearful. So it's not that we're depressed anymore about abandonment. We became hyper aware. And that's, again, the second chakra imbalance, because if you're hyper aware of your relationship, are you grounded? Are you having a love affair in your life? Are you learning? Are you interactive? Are you really connecting? No, because you're afraid that you're going to be abandoned. Okay, so that's the underlining energy. So let's see what your person did and how it triggered you, and then what they're going to do, because God knows what people do when they have spiritual blocks is really very seldom in alignment with how this person truly feels. Or if it is, it's someone that really needs a lot of healing because they're driven by their anger, their rage. And then you want to know about that too, obviously, so that you can avoid getting connected to a trauma bond or karmic that's going to completely destroy your life. You know, hurt people hurt people. Remember that. Okay, so let's see what this person did. Again, always wanting to form an attachment, like, right, committing way too soon. That's what they want. That's what I said about the codependency. They automatically, right off the bat, because of abandonment, they go into connections, forming attachments, because that's what feels natural. That feels normal. Healing doesn't feel good because you grew up in a very codependent environment. You've only had codependent relationships. Now, when you actually get into a healthy relationship, it doesn't feel good. It doesn't, because this person that you're connected to has a low self-esteem. And they have a low self-esteem because they were abandoned. People tend to feel that they were abandoned because they weren't good enough. So there's shame usually underneath that. But this, they tend to come right on into the relationship, 1,000 miles an hour, love bomb you, become everything and anything you want them to be until they have you hook, line, and sinker, because none of that is true. It's not that they don't have feelings, but they overcompensate and they are emulating what they perceive you would want them to be, because they don't really have a true self. And people that don't have a true self, they don't like what they manifest, because when you're not coming from the higher self, the true self, and you're coming from a facade, you're not going to manifest anything good. You're only going to block yourself, because the underlying energy really that's driving you is, I'm afraid that you're going to leave. I feel like I'm not good enough. I feel like there's something wrong with me. So this is why I form attachments. So I need a lot of attention. And this is your person. And so being that they need a lot of attention and they want to seem secure, they get a lot of attention from random people, insignificant people. But those people don't know that they're insignificant. They don't know their worth either. It's almost like your person has a knack for feeling out people that have been in bad relationships and coming into these people's life, really pouring it on thick, getting emotionally fed, and then detaching, like, not, it doesn't mean anything. That's the problem when someone has severe trauma from abandonment. They don't show up. They want other people to show up. And if those people don't show up, then they get angry, they get salty, they get upset. When really, I feel like, again, you're a mirror of what comes into your life. So you might have grown up in an environment where you felt emotionally your parents didn't show up for you. And that's because they weren't in an attachment style relationship, but it was more not passionate and happy and loving, but needy on each other. It was more toxic. It was more love is pain, that repeated cycle, because we can't form an attachment with one person. It has to be two people to form that dynamic that aren't aware that they have attachment problems, the imbalances, because they feel inadequate, because they were abandoned. But understand that's, again, coming from a low vibration, not because people are bad, but because of the fear of being abandoned. And so, but that this person, the way that they would deal with it is, I act like I don't care. I'm self-righteous. I'm never wrong. Everything's my way or the highway. I'm going to come across arrogant. I don't have any friends anyway, and I have nothing to lose, but I'm not going to be subservient to you and get that close to you so you can hurt me, so you can abandon me. So it's, again, coming from a fear, creating the wall, creating the facade, almost like I'm tough. I don't have to, I'm mean and I don't need love, which everyone needs love. But I'm right. You need to follow me, almost trying to create a narcissistic trauma bond connection, right? Which attachment is attachment, but over time, when a person is in a relationship that starts off all lovey-dovey, which is what I feel like this was, it was driven by passion. But then once actually the relationship was going to get serious and or something came up where you had to talk to this person, they have avoidance style. They don't want to like stick around and do that part of the relationship. They get self-righteous. They shut down. They create a wall. But now that you've already created that emotional connection, but it wasn't really real on their part, because only time, effort, energy is what creates that. And so you might say, oh, well, it was a week, it was 2 weeks, it was a month, it was 2 months. It takes years to form that connection. It's not a day thing, especially with people that have trauma. Again, and I feel like you had expectations, and I also feel like they had expectations, which is not unconditional love. This is how we also know that it's imbalanced, because when you love someone, you don't care what you surrender, you forgive regardless. But when you have expectations, you have a hard time forgiving. There's a sense that that's that spirit telling you this person has triggered a wound inside of you that you need to heal. Otherwise, you're going to continue to attract people that display their behavior. And their behavior is, I emotionally don't show up for anyone, and including myself. So you better not have expectations, because you will always be let down. So you grow up with parents that, again, didn't show up, and there was always a sense of being let down. Now that trauma has manifested into this new life, right? A new stage of life is a new life, and that's through your relationships. Again, where really you set goals on the passion. This person sets goals on what they perceive, but do they take the time and effort and energy to really get to know you? No, they don't know who you are. So that, again, sets up a cocktail for abandonment, where the person comes on strong and it's all about that connection physically, but where's the connection emotionally? Oh, it was a facade. Did you know that? No. How did you not know that? How did you not have discernment? Well, you were too close up to the picture. You too have formed attachment styles. So what feels natural is actually what is too much. It's too much, giving too much of yourself, not getting enough from the other person. Or being with someone that gives you just as much, but it's all about you too. And that's not what life is supposed to do. Your person's supposed to enhance who you are. Yes, they can help you on your path, and it could be part of their path. But they have their role within whatever it is the project is. They're not doing the same thing that their partner's doing. They're enhancing whatever it is, the business. That person might be very personable and say, well, I show the different rooms of the restaurant or the whatever it is that they're doing together. And that's usually a twin flame relationship or a soul relationship that has evolved, that is learning how to work together, how to learn the lessons of unconditional love, even though their talents are different, even though they both bring something very important to the table, but it's just different elements and learning how to work with each other. Because then this person, again, had expectations on what they perceive from you from social media, from who you used to be when they actually gave you time, from other people, but not from you. So again, forming attachment style is a little bit fantasy. This person's like, oh, I perceive you to be this, and they have a love affair in their mind with you, instead of actually being in a relationship with you, because they have detachment disorder because of abandonment. So they don't really take the time to nurture any connection. So relationships start off great, but it's not strong enough. Passion is not strong enough to withstand the trials and tribulations of life. Life and being in a relationship, shit happens. You have to show up, and you have to show up even if you're running a business, even if you have children, even if you have other things. Not if you can't even show up for yourself and you need attachment style. It means that there's a form of you that feels, there's a part of you that feels inadequate. So on an emotional level, you're connected to this person. Now, again, they don't emotionally, are not bringing that to the table. So they might be bringing financial, and you might say, well, I need help financially. And so Spirit says, yes. So because of that, you will pay emotionally for it, because there's a sense that you don't feel like you can have it. And vice versa. This person says, well, I can make money, but this person lives for me. It's all about me. They're feeding my ego. So I don't have to go out and really create myself fully, because I don't really believe in myself. So they're doing it. And that's an attachment style, not a twin flame relationship where two parties feel good about each other. They both have gifts, and they're both bringing gifts to the table. And they're bringing, it's an equal give and take reciprocity relationship, not a one-sided relationship, which is I need you for. That's the difference. And this person obviously wouldn't know the difference unless they were encountered a very strong soulmate connection. So of course they had expectations too, because there's a lot of passion. But the reason why there's passion is we wouldn't stick around long enough to learn the spiritual lesson. That's why the universe does that. So again, like I said, unaware. It's not that I feel like you and this person deliberately did this. There's love. There is a connection. However, the attachment styles, the traumas that have been created. Again, this person doesn't know how to even like respect you as a person. And that's really what it comes down to. This was your trigger. You're like, I put up boundaries to teach this person how I want to be treated. And they repeatedly are so self-righteous, they don't listen to them. They think that they're entitled. They think, and so people that are very wounded always, again, create that facade that they're very confident, and it's again a second chakra imbalance. They haven't created themselves enough, so they don't really know who they are. So unfortunately, because they don't know who they are, they never attract a healthy relationship. They never, because they're not healthy. They want to control the relationship as a way to feel safe, to not feel abandoned. And in their control, in their craziness of controlling, they lose everything, because they cross boundaries, because they feel that they know everything. And there's a self-righteousness there again, which is extremely irritating. It's very narcissistic. So you're like, I feel like I can't even be myself. I'm not even allowed to have opinions. I'm not allowed to have wants. They don't look at me as if I'm a person, as if I'm an individual. They look at me as what I can do for them. And that is an attachment, and not one that of unconditional love. It's one that there's expectation. And it's all about manipulation in order to get it. And that means gaslighting. It means over time, you're not going to know what's real and what's an illusion if you have this person in your life. Because it's all about dominance and control in order for this person to feel safe, because they haven't created themselves enough. Where safety doesn't come from controlling the environment. It comes from creating ourselves, being strong within ourselves, by being interactive in the world, connecting on a deep heart consciousness with people that are like-minded, that are going to reflect back to you making you feel good about yourself. You know, too many people that are self-righteous, and I know this more than anybody, they confuse empathy and sensitivity with weakness, and it's their biggest mistake. You know, because sensitivity means psychically we can tap in to what you feel. So you don't need to tell us what you're going to do. We can, again, decipher it. That's number one. And number two, that it's, again, because we hold the high vibration of unconditional love, we do have empathy. We can put ourselves in someone else's shoes, but someone that's not healed is going to take it as weakness. They're not going to understand it. And they're going to project a lot of their own wounds onto you. So I would say keep having your boundaries up, because people that tend to cross the boundaries will continue to try. They try to break you down. It's very narcissistic energy. And it's what's driving it is fear of abandonment, fear of inadequacy, of feeling inadequacy. So you're going to leave. So I need to control. To dominate, like I said, this person doesn't feel strong within themselves. So they have to control. And they have to control the environment. No one's going to be controlled. They're going to want to leave. They're going to be triggered. And that's going to create a very toxic environment where this person, again, wants you to become subservient to them. And they're going to do so by cheating and scaring you emotionally, or creating abandonment, because that's what happens after a while. It's this person's not putting energy into themselves. They want to dominate you. It's not working. So what do? They go out and they cheat. Well, they never really formed that emotional connection to begin with. So here you are, you're like, what the fuck just happened? And it's because you gave too much too soon and had an attachment style, but the attachment style was more of a anxious, which is, I have fear of abandonment, so I overgive. I'm not going to set appropriate boundaries, or if I do set boundaries, they're going to be very strict and rigid because I want to protect myself, which then it's all about this person playing a game of, well, oh yeah, you created that deep boundary. I'm going to keep crossing it and show you who's in control. Said it's all about them creating that environment to feel safe. I'm going to pull one more again, and just not giving you time. So what way to hurt a person's emotionally and psychologically, spiritually, is not making them feel validated, not making you feel validated, not making you feel important. And all because they want to form the attachment style. They don't want to form a healthy relationship, but they're unaware of this. They actually feel like there's something wrong with you because you're, like, again, trying to form very strict, rigid things to protect yourself, which Spirit says both are actually wrong. You don't need to protect yourself. When you are in your light and you're doing what you're supposed to be doing, which is give and receive of love through your free will, the divine protects you. The divine orchestrates everything to keep you protected so you can stay grounded, so you can stay focused. But what throws us off is that when we're dealing with people that cross boundaries, that try to trigger, that try to manipulate, that try to gaslight, that come across self-righteous to make you perceive that, no, you should be doing this for me. You should be giving me this. You're actually wrong, which is possibly the environment that you grew up in, which you were like, okay, you're so like, you have a really bad case of entitlement. One of your parents had a sense of entitlement that they didn't deserve it. And they came across self-righteous. That's, again, because down deep inside, they feel that they're going to be abandoned. They're going to be left out. So there's a need to, again, control, a need to create the illusion. So again, this person's all in their fear is what we see. So let's see how they really feel if we were to remove this fear, right? If we were going to remove fear, what would this person really want to say to you? How do they really feel? Because they're expelling a lot of energy here. So we know that they care. They'd just walk away. They didn't put in enough effort or energy, emotional connection for them to do what they've done. So why are they still here? And what do they want? So we see they're reminiscing. So I feel like you walked away and you really, again, have not given this person anything. And this person is remembering a time that you gave them a lot, where they perceived you as being this person, a person that overgave, overdid, was very loving, was very nurturing. And they know that you're not that way anymore because of them. They know it. However, they're missing the advantages that came with it. And it's not that they're not remembering the good times. Obviously, there is an emotional connection. It's just this person doesn't react the way that they should from that emotional connection. Instead, they'll give you less. They get in their own way. They sabotage the connection. Because again, there's always going to be secrets and deception because this person doesn't really like who they are. They're afraid of abandonment, so they create a facade. And so they're never coming from their true self, which means sometimes they're connecting with other people. Sometimes if they're never in their heart and they're always in the reptilian mind, they're always strategizing. They're always coming from a place of fear. There's always going to be secrets and deception. This person's too afraid to let you in. So again, that creates the detachment, which again, if the person hasn't given you enough time, we see why that's usually important. I gave into temptation. So this person's feeling guilty. I feel like they chose somebody else because, hey, you weren't going to be as subservient as this person thought. You were not just going to give in. This person didn't give you time. They didn't give you that. You didn't form the attachment style. So of course, they went for low-hanging fruit. They appear to be someone that is very confident, but they're not. But they create the facade that they are. So you're not really meeting the person that you think that you're meeting when you meet them, if that makes sense. They're always creating the illusion through becoming a chameleon, and that's through studying who they like, who they want to connect with, forming an attachment through that way, which is built on trust, but it was more for the expectation of what they wanted. And so again, love, everybody perceives love to be different. And unfortunately, if a person came from a wounded home where they saw this being done to their mother or father, they too would think that that is normal and healthy, where it's not normal and healthy to form attachments. Attachments means a lot of times addictions too, because there's a sense of feeling I need to have that person in my life to feel whole. We see a lot of people that hate each other that actually are in attachment style relationships, which is, I love this person, but I hate them because there's been so much betrayal. This person hasn't shown up for me. They haven't done the right thing. So because of that, fights, arguments, and conflict. It's like that's all that there is. So it's like this person is like, I gave into conflict. And really, when we get together, all we really do is fight and argue and conflict. And that's all that there is going to be because I don't really want to give you what I know you're deserving of. And you are not going to give it to me. So I feel like at this time, this person's like, I'd rather just stay in my low energy because I don't have to show up. I don't have to because it's like if we're fighting and arguments and conflict, then I'm still not getting really what I want, where I can be with someone that's going to stroke my ego is what I feel like. I don't feel strong within myself, so I'm always like given into temptation. So there's always secrets and deception going on because I'm always talking to someone. I always got people in the inbox. I always got people in the outbox, whatever it is. I'm always talking to somebody. That's the energy. And because I'm always like strategizing and planning, but that doesn't mean that I'm in my heart. That means I'm controlling to create the dynamic that I want because I'm too afraid of commitment because every time I get that, I'm going to be abandoned. This is this person. So right now there's a 50-50 chance that things can go either way. I feel like right now it's leaning towards this person doesn't want to do it. And the whole time, by the way, they haven't been doing it the whole time. It doesn't mean that they don't have a connection to you. It means I don't want to do what it takes. It's like I'm reminiscing because I have feelings for you, but it's all a strategy so that you can, again, form an attachment to me so that I can pretty much dominate so that I get fed, not really so that you get fed. It's a one-sided relationship. And again, some people feel like that's what love is. Love is what you can do for me. I love you for how you make me feel, but it's again, I don't participate in it. And so it's a very one-sided relationship. So we have to say, why would you attract a person like this? Very hurtful. It's very hurtful, but they're again very, very wounded. And you have the same wound, but you have empathy. So I understand if you came from a home where there were narcissistic parents, you might have became the empath, the healer of the family, and taken that pain and turned it into power through helping heal other people and connecting deeply with people on an intimate level, on a soul's level, where this person became another narcissist, was like, okay, well, I'm not going to open up my heart anymore. I'm going to control everything. And it's all about me, and more me. And so that's the dynamic here. And this person knows it. It's like, I don't want to do the work. I'm going to get together with you. Yes, we have a connection, but then it's like, I have to do work. It's too difficult for me. My feet. Okay. Friendship is the first card out. Joy, the second card out. Suppression, third card out. Optimism, the fourth card out. You're getting a lot of gifts here, and innocence. Well, it's funny because as I said, I feel like you have a lot of gifts here, except for suppression, right? Suppression, I feel like you grew up in an environment where you were suppressed. You grew up with a very controlling parent that tried to dominate you. And there would be a sense of being too afraid to to really be your true self as well. Now, like goes to like, you're a mirror of who and what comes into your life. So you would also want to get more emotional support. And I feel like you did that as a child. And the way that you did that was through friendship. You had a lot of friends. However, some of those friends were not really friends. And I always look at this like this isn't a real friend because look at his face. It's like friendship, it's like frenemy. So almost like you grew up in an environment that you didn't feel safe. And then how that played out was through friends that were like frenemies. And because you were innocent, innocent being like the healer of the family tends to be the black sheep. They already feel inadequate, so they're not coming from their true self. They overgive. And so they perceive also that everyone is like them. They perceive that everyone is going to act like them and do as them, where that's not true. They overgive, and usually they tend to overgive to a grossly inadequate proportion. They don't get anything back. So I feel like the gift that you had was regardless of that, you were always optimistic. It didn't matter. Like that was through creating yourself. And now I feel like this person here is like a fashion designer, I feel like, and they created their life. Now, it doesn't mean that you need to be a fashion designer, but it was almost like I get the image of recreating, reinventing yourself from this inadequacy. And you're able to do that through innocence, through being like a child, through the imagination, through joy, what brings you joy. And I feel like you fed yourself, you gave yourself what this person didn't give you. So this relationship actually made you heal because when you were not getting anything from this person, you detached. This person, it's like, okay, now I know I have to do work. And they're like, I don't really want to. There's 50-50 chance, but right now I'm leaning more so towards no. And so I feel like it didn't matter to you because you put the energy into yourself and you have gifts and you recreated yourself. And so this person views you now as unrecognizable. They don't even know how to approach you. They wouldn't even know how to approach you. And the shit that they pulled in the past, they know for a fact would not go. They would try and come in and dominate you, manipulate you. That would not happen because again, you can tell the difference. I feel like this person may try and come in as a friend, because there's a sense of there's still this connection, and this connection to them is mainly because you are of light. You're of a very high vibration. This person's not of a high vibration. They see your innocence. So it's how much you could give, and then you'd wind up back in being suppressed in that environment, and not because this person even can help it. It's just that's the way that they are, but you would be stuck in that karmic cycle of how you grew up. It's mirroring the same exact way that you grew up, where the person would steal your joy. And I feel like you just recreating yourself triggers people that want to perceive you in a certain way. And I feel like the way that you grew up, you were made to perceive yourself not really from the best perception. So you had a very poor self-esteem. And so we tend to attract people that bully us when we're not strong within ourselves. And there's a bullying energy. And also, if we were growing up in an environment that was very suppressing, that was very domineering, but again, didn't make us feel safe enough to find ourselves. So it's recreated that same karmic theme of what you grew up in. Now you might say, why would it do that? Because I'm so far past. Well, you might have learned the spiritual lessons, but you haven't transmuted the negative energy. When you grow up in an environment like that, it's not like that negative energy just goes bye-bye. It doesn't. It's held within our cells. It's held within our DNA because anger, resentment, feeling victimized, all these energies create, again, a toxic energy. And so this toxic energy is handed down from generation to generation, from beliefs and behaviorisms that were inherited. So until you go through the experience of really being grounded in yourself, and by, again, recreating yourself, which is what I feel like you did through your joy, you can't be suppressed. You can't be suppressed because, again, you're in love, you're in light, you're in the energy of God. The universe then conspires to support you. Your own discernment kicks in because you are co-creating with your creator, and it's up to your creator to protect you, not you to protect you. You want to be able to go with the flow of life and stay in the energy of being innocent, which is through the energy of love. And yes, you can create with friends and connect to friends, but also understand it's about more in this story, getting strong within yourself first. And then the friends come later, because before, the friends that you would have attracted were not really friends. They would have been frenemies because you weren't strong within yourself. They would see your innocence and, again, whatever you were doing to create yourself, and try to take it away and rob you of your joy because of their inadequacy. And that's a way that people tend to dominate. Remember, hurt people hurt people. So I feel like what you needed to do was, again, reinvent yourself through your joys, and that's what you did. So that's why this person can't touch you now. This is why they're like, I don't even know how to approach you now. And that's why the attachments wouldn't be possible now, because you gave yourself what you didn't grow up with. You reparented yourself, you healed. And so Spirit wants to end this message off with the calm. Meaning, again, this toxic relationship obviously was anything but the calm. You need to be in the calm. You need to be in a place of rest. And there's a rest, digest when you are at ease. There is no disease, again, but when we're not, then again, we're not calm. So this is, I breathe, live, and grow the light within me, which is what Spirit's saying. That's what you needed to do. That's what I still want you to do. I do one thing at a time and focus on the present moment. That will happen if you grew up in trauma. It's very hard to stay present. It's very hard to be in the moment. But again, you can do that through the co-creation process by being in your joy. I cast off my doubts, all fears dissipate, and I find peace in my being. So again, the co-creation process is where you find the calm, because you can't control your environment. You cannot control what might happen, what could happen, what did happen. However, you can control how you want to navigate your life. You can control where you put your time, your energy, your focus, and your money. And when you're doing that, the universe conspires to bring you everything that you need to help grow you, to help support you, to help love you, to help guide you. And that creates such a powerful protection force that people that only want to use and create attachments because they need to drain you of your energy because they don't feel whole, they can't stay in your energy because they're not on a high enough vibration. They create drama. They create like stress. So you can't manifest. It's all about, again, getting back to this energy, the calm. All righty, Virgos, I love you, I love you, I love you. Thank you for watching. As always, thanks for your support. And I'll see you all soon. Let me know whether you resonated with this one.